Hello, my name is Andrea Porter, and I'm here on behalf of Clarice and Associates. And Clarice and Associates is a nonprofit agency in South Chicago. We can be, our address is 9108 South Brandon Avenue, Chicago, Illinois 60617. And our phone number is 773-734-9181. And our website is www.clariceandassociates.org. Today I have with me Jasmine Gunn, also
Hi.
from Clarice and Associates. How are you doing?
I'm doing great today.
Awesome. Well, Jasmine, in our last segment, we discussed a bit about renewable energy sources and how energy efficient resources can actually help us save money.
Right.
And we had a few people actually reach out to us to ask a little bit about, well, what kind of sources are out there. And in particular, there was a lot of requests and interest in solar power.
Really? Okay.
And so I wanted to come back and make a segment just sort of focusing on solar power in particular. And so I guess we can go ahead and jump right in.
Sure.
And my first question is to you, Jasmine.
Right.
What is solar power exactly?
Sure. So solar power is actually just the power obtained by harvesting the energy from sun rays, which is pretty straightforward, right? It's actually one of the most widely available sources of power that we have.
Nice.
And it's kind of undervalued. It was actually found that if we harvested all of the world's sun energy for just 50 minutes, we would have enough to power the world for an entire year.
Wow.
Now, obviously, we're not doing that now. I mean, there's tons of roads and things that we aren't taking advantage of to actually, and surfaces that we aren't taking advantage of to collect sun. There's actually a design once to have solar-powered roadways.
Oh, nice.
So collect sun from all the streets. But that wasn't, put into place. So, people need to do whatever they can to really collect the sun's energy, and that can really just start by using solar power to energize your home.
Oh, nice. So then what are the different types of solar power? I understand that there are a few different types. And so can you take us through kind of what those are?
Yes, so there are actually three main types of solar power that exist. There's passive solar energy, there's solar thermal energy, and then there's photovoltaic solar power. So with passive solar energy, that actually is a process where you harvest the sun's energy, but you don't use any mechanical or electrical devices to harvest the energy from the sun. An example of this would be using south-facing windows. The sun hits directly on the south side, so if you have windows on the south side of your home, you can harvest some of, the sun's energy. Another process for passive solar thermal would include daylighting, and that's basically just using, again, windows and openings to have the sun light rooms instead of using electricity.
Oh, I see.
And there's actually a diagram here, so that talks about the elements of solar design. As you can see up here on the top, it's a summer sun, and it has an arrow going on the roof. So basically, this shading device right here blocks the sun in the summertime, which is when it's the hottest, right? And you want to keep your home cool.
Yeah.
Now, this winter sun is usually lower than the summer sun. So there's another sun for the winter, and this system allows the sun to come in the wintertime so you can gain that heat, and the warmth from it. So passive solar energy is very beneficial, and most people, if you already have a home built, you can install shading devices and things to take advantage of that.
Oh, nice.
So the next form of solar power is solar thermal energy.
Okay.
And this is where you convert solar energy into heat. So you take solar energy and convert it into heat, and then you use it to heat and cool your home. Now, there's two different types of solar thermal energy. There's water, and then there's air. So, of course, the air one is used to heat and cool your home, which is usually the biggest expense that you do have.
Right.
Is heating and cooling.
Yeah.
And then the other one is to heat and cool your water, which is also a big expense. And this means the water, in your showers and in your sinks. And at Clarice and Associates, we actually have a property called Villa Guadalupe. And I did mention this the last time, which probably sparked some interest.
Right.
That we saved 45% on our building's gas bill because we used a solar thermal energy process. So we didn't have to use gas to heat up all of our water in the building. So it's very beneficial, and that just shows you an example of how it works.
Right.
The third one is photovoltaic solar power. So this actually converts solar energy into electricity. This is probably the most popular and commonly known one.
Right.
You know, taking the sun and converting it to energy and using it to energize appliances, you know, your TV and things like of that.
Is that sort of like the solar powered cars? Is that
yeah, it's similar to that. Yeah,
Okay,
taking it and
okay.
creating it, turning energy that you can use. Yes.
Nice.
So it is the idea behind solar powered cars.
Oh, nice.
And it's actually a great thing because it's becoming more and more popular. So the materials and things to build it are becoming cheaper and cheaper, which is great.
Oh, nice. Nice. So then what is the typical price of implementing some sort of solar powered device, whether it be using the passive or some of the other types of solar energy? What's sort of like a typical price or a ballpark range, if you can?
Well, we'll get into the cost a little later, but I can say that it used to cost $300 per kilowatt for the solar power.
Okay.
And now it costs $5 to $7.
Oh,
So
that is a huge difference.
Yes, a huge drop. So before it was totally unattainable to get solar power,
Right.
And now it's down to $5 to $7. So
Nice.
it's much more accessible to the average everyday person.
Oh, wonderful. And I'm sure that's good news for anyone out there who wants to, implement these sort of more environmentally friendly, more efficient ways of heating up their home or powering their home, just in general. Yeah. So what exactly are the benefits then to homeowners and the environment in general?
In the environment, sure. So there are quite a few benefits. The first is that it helps to slow and stop global warming.
That's important.
Yes. And as we did mention too, it helps you obviously save money. But we can go into the global warming. So the average solar power system can save you 178 tons of carbon dioxide over 30 years.
Wow.
So I know a big thing that's hindering us now is global warming. There's too much pollution and carbon dioxide in the air, which can cause ice to melt, sea levels to rise, and then big natural disasters to happen, as well as losses of different species and plants, which would be devastating to us.
Of course.
So solar power is actually one of the biggest things that can help stop this, slow it down, and stop this from happening, and preserve the world so it doesn't blow up, in our kids' faces or our grandkids'
That'd be
faces.
nice.
So that's the main thing. And also, as I said, the next one is that it saves you money. So by reducing or eliminating your solar power actually reduces and can completely eliminate your electric bill monthly, depending on how much you choose to use. And the average 20-year savings for a solar panel system would be about $20,000 over a period of 20 years.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So $1,000 a year on average.
Worth it.
Which would be totally be worth it. And as I said, you'll be saving the environment.
Right.
So the next one that it does is also provides energy reliability. As I said in the beginning, solar power is very a reliable energy source. That's because the sun always comes up and comes down. There's a ton of meteorologists and people studying where the sun is, so you'll know when it's coming, where it's coming. You'll know when it's going to be cloudy on average and things of that nature.
Right.
So basically, if the sun goes away, we go away. And you won't have to worry about solar panel systems anyways. So
Because we're gone.
Yeah, because we'll be gone too, along with the sun. So it's probably the most reliable source of energy that you could possibly have.
Okay, so then I have a question.
Sure.
So you say, okay, I know obviously for solar panels to be effective in warming homes and adding all these wonderful benefits, that implies that the sun will be, rising. I don't know if there's anyone like me thinking, well, then if it's a little dark one day, does that mean my appliances won't work as well?
No, in most solar panel systems, you can store energy. So say, you don't use X amount of energy per day. So if there's a super sunny day, you might get be able to store more energy than you actually use.
Nice.
So it's able to store energy for the rainy days, as you said, the little rainy days.
Oh, okay.
And there's also some systems that have backup systems just in case, generators and things of that nature that can kick in case the solar panel isn't there.
And how long does it store energy? I'm thinking if it's like it is now in Chicago, it's super sunny,
Right.
It's warm, so I can probably store energy to last me throughout the winter.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
nice.
store it really as long as you want to. You can also transmit it to wherever you want to. There's actual solar panel plants all across the country who have it in one place and they transmit it out all over the country.
Nice. Oh wow.
Yeah, so it could definitely be stored and saved and transmitted for rainy day.
Nice. Cool.
The next one is actually that it provides energy independence. So what I mean by that is no one can own the sun. People own land and even in some cases the air. They control where you fly and things like that.
Yeah.
But they cannot control the sun. So if you're
That's a
one of
fact.
those people who want to live off the grid and don't want to rely on any energy company
Right.
for your survival, solar panels and solar power is a really good option for you. The next benefit is that it creates jobs. So more than any other type of renewable energy, such as wind and natural gas, solar power has the potential to create a lot of jobs as far as the manufacturing and distribution of solar power.
And this is becoming a growing workforce too,
Yes, it is.
as far as just green jobs and having an employment sector completely dedicated to energy efficient resources
Exactly.
and green initiatives throughout the city. So it's definitely, I think, a growing workforce.
Yes, it is.
So it might be worth an investment.
Yeah, it would be. That's what I was going to say next too. It's definitely worth an investment because it is a growing field.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you have kids and they're wondering what to get into, maybe you could push them towards some energy efficient solar power things. The next is that solar power can actually increase your property value by up to 7%.
Oh wow.
So this is great too. You own a home and maybe you decide you need to relocate for whatever reason. The property value just rose in your home automatically from getting solar power. So it's definitely
Nice.
a great benefit to you.
Mm-hmm.
The last is that the system requires little maintenance. We can get into more details of that later, but basically no one really wants to have this if, it's cumbersome to your life and you have to constantly maintain it and learn all of these things about solar panels and power. It's pretty much a self-sustaining system, so you don't have too much maintenance.
Oh wow. Okay, so far, and I know we have a lot more information to get into,
Sure.
but it saves money,
Yep.
saves the planet,
Right.
could potentially provide a job for someone else,
Yep.
and it's low maintenance.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Right, exactly.
Cool. Okay, so then I guess with all those benefits,
Right.
how much does it cost?
Well, okay, so the average solar panel installation on homes can cost anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000. Now that is kind of steep, at least for me. At least for me, that is definitely a big investment.
For me as well.
But there are a ton of options that we could get into a little later. But there's a ton of options to help you reduce that cost.
Nice.
And actually, you see below there are options to rent or lease. So with renting and leasing, there are no upfront costs. You could put $0 down and get a solar panel, installed today. There is an installation fee, I will say that.
Mhm.
But after that, you won't have to pay and own it. You have to pay the full $15,000 to $30,000.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay, and I can give you an example of that because
Yeah,
it
that'd
could
be
be
great.
kind of hard to see.
For sure.
So say, for example, that your current electricity bill is $250,
Mhm.
right? So then you go and you get, you rent a solar panel system for $125 a month, right?
Mhm.
Now, with this solar panel system, your electricity gets cut down to $100.
Nice.
So you're saving $150, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're also paying $125 to rent the system.
Yeah.
So all in all, you have about a $25 saving.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the people that you're renting the solar power from, they install it, they maintain it. It's kind of like you don't have to worry about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So to save $25 a month, over 10 years, that could add up pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping the environment, and you don't have to worry about maintaining the system.
Nice.
It's done for you.
Sounds good. Awesome. And so, so then with all that great information and cost and having someone else do a bulk of the work, I know that's a
Right.
huge issue. Is it worth it to install solar panels?
Yeah, well, actually, there are calculators that allow you to determine if it's a right fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
So these calculators are usually offered by a lot of solar panel manufacturers,
Mm-hmm.
and you can Google and search them and shop around. But a lot of the calculators allow you to put your address in. You just plug your address in, and it can really determine if that building will benefit or create energy from solar power. And it'll also see how much money you can save over the course of years.
Nice.
So the other thing that you do with the calculator is you input how much your current electricity bill is.
Okay.
And it predicts off your location how much money you would save. And it also, in some cases, when I was researching, it shows you your actual environmental impact
Nice.
from doing it. So it says you will save, 2,000 trees and
Very
X
cool.
amount of gases over time. So you can definitely determine if it's the right fit for you. But I think in many cases, it would be.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, I say yes, is it worth it? And as we mentioned before, it saves you $20,000 over 20 years on average. And as we said, it's a great investment because the price of fossil fuels and electricity is rising while the cost of solar panels are decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Chicago has actually streamlined the process to make it a little easier to install.
Okay.
So what they did is you need a permit pretty much to do everything in Chicago and in most places.
Yeah.
So they streamlined the permit process to make it a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
So if you mention that you're doing it, they'll have you expedite it because you could take months. And we're in the development business.
Right.
And I can tell you now, it takes months for the littlest things.
Patience.
Yes, it takes a lot of patience. It also allows general contractors to see the different designs and options available, so they can streamline the design process for you. And then they reduce the fees to get it installed and engineered.
Oh, nice. Wonderful.
So it's definitely worth it.
It's definitely worth it. There you go. And so, so then, okay, me as a homeowner, I've decided that it's worth it. What is the process for getting the solar panel installed then for my home?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first thing is to select a licensed contractor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to get it designed and make sure the system would work right for your home and that you'll get the expected energy savings that you would want. The next is that you do have to apply, again, as I said, you need the permit process, so you do have to apply through the City of Chicago and then also with ComEd because they're the city contractor for solar panels.
Okay.
So they would go through the approval process of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to apply with them. Then the next step is to apply for interconnection and net metering. So once you get the solar panels, they want to see that if it works or not, right? So you would have to apply and get a meter so you can see how much energy you're using, how much energy you're saving over the time, which is good for you to see as well as them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next step is to install the system. Install the system, get it designed and approved, and then have it inspected. Obviously by the City of Chicago again and ComEd.
Right.
And then you'll have it installed, get it up and running, and then it's generating energy on your roof. And one great thing about solar power is you immediately see the payback from it. It's not something that may or may not work. It's definitely going to work, and it's definitely going to save you some money.
Nice. So then if I decide to have it installed and say I'm a DIY person, I'm not really a DIY person, but if I were, how complicated is it to install it myself?
It's not very hard to install at all, actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay. Wait. I say if you're a general handy person, it wouldn't be too hard to install. You know, like my dad does basic handiwork around the house, and I think he would be able to install this. There are a ton of YouTube videos. YouTube has YouTube is a gold mine. The internet,
Google.
There's a ton of people who have probably done this before you. A ton of information. So you know, with some research, I'm sure there's a step-by-step video to show you exactly what to do, where to hook it up, and how to install it all. So I don't think it would be difficult at all.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Okay. And so how do you maintain it?
So maintaining it would be pretty simple, as I stated before. It's very self-sustaining. And it's probably less than the system you have right now.
Okay.
So 1 to 4 times a year, you would need to clean and inspect them. This is just because dust collects, leaves blow on there, birds may, you know, poop.
Right.
Different things happen all the time.
Right.
So you would definitely 1 to 4 times a year want to get someone up there to clean that off. Nice. And then other than that, you would just have the occasional checkups to make sure all parts are in working order, have someone inspect it. I'm sure the city probably requires you to have that process done as well anyways.
Oh, nice. And this is only if you're doing it yourself, right? If you're renting it.
Right, if you're renting it, you don't have to do any of that.
You don't have to
go up there. You don't have to make sure it's working there.
Right.
You're paying a fee every month so that they would do that.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Sounds good. And then, are there some other ways to use the sun to provide energy for your home? I know solar panels is obviously a wonderful thing to have, but what are some other ways that people can use to make their home more efficient?
Yeah, sure. So there are a couple of other ways. One is outdoor solar lighting, and the other is solar ovens. So with the outdoor solar lighting, my mom has a garden, a huge garden. And the walkway up to our house has these solar lights, and you can see the picture right here with the lights in the grass. And they're really cheap. I don't know exact cost, but you can pick them up. They're easy accessible. You can pick them up at Walmart or Home Depot. Oh, cool. And they're just little lights that you put into the ground. You don't need to dig a hole. It has like a stake in it. And it has a little solar patch at the top. So during the day, it collects light. It collects energy. Yeah. And at nighttime, it uses the energy collected to to provide light.
Now, does it automatically light up when it gets dark?
Yes.
Oh,
it's
very
actually
cool.
Lighting up during the day as well. Okay. You just don't see it because, you know, the sun is out.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So that's very good, especially when you're coming home and you want to be safe and you want to know where you're going. Yeah. It's always nice to have a little path lit up for you. Right. And, go ahead.
Oh, well, my mom actually has a rabbit problem in her garden.
Oh, okay.
So light actually keeps a lot of the rabbits and other animals away.
Oh, good.
From your garden specifically.
Wow, and it's also a repellent.
Yes, it's a repellent.
Nice. Okay, now tell me about these solar ovens because I want to know more about that.
So, solar ovens basically, as we say, use heat to cook your food. And one of our coworkers, Ariana, gave an example of how her friend would bake bread or would bake treats in the sun. And she would pop it in the oven and wait. You know, it takes a long time, longer than your traditional oven. But it uses the energy from the heat and the reflecting on the inside of the oven to heat up the food and cook it slowly over time.
Oh, so so it would be perfect for like a long barbecue. Like maybe you're outside, maybe you're cooking outside, and you put this in before you start to set things up, and then, you know, by the time your company comes and they're all settled, then, you know, the food's ready. Right.
So you would definitely have to allow a long amount of time, but if you plan ahead, it's actually a pretty good idea. And I found that most of the ovens actually cost. I mean, you can find some ovens under $100.
Oh, nice.
And some people have made their own DIY ones out of like cardboard and aluminum foil. So it's pretty.
Wow.
Again, YouTube, you can find find a way to make a nice, quick, and easy sun oven and see if it works. Test it out.
Nice. So go make a sun oven.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jasmine. That was so helpful. A lot of great, wonderful information. And again, if you'd like to either get in touch with Jasmine or just learn more, please please feel free to visit us at Clarissa & Associates. Again, we are located at 9108 South Brandon Avenue, 60617. Our phone number is 773-734-9181, and our website is www.clarissaassociates.org. Thank you again, and
Thanks.
we'll see you next time.
Yep.